Hi, this is Sherry Schreiber of GettingBetter.com, and I know I haven't posted a video in a while, and I apologize, but I've been waiting for inspiration, and I guess while I was in my shower this morning, I found it. I very much want to speak to this incredible condition that seems to be existing in our society right now, where women are using abortions as a means of birth control. And we see people in the acting profession talking about this. You know, I wouldn't have had the career I've had, the success I've had, if I hadn't gotten an abortion, if I didn't have the right to abort a fetus that had implanted itself in my body. Alyssa Milano has gone on camera talking about this. Michelle Williams has gone on camera talking about this, as if we should be grateful to them and all the talent they've shared with us, and the way that they were able to do this was because they had aborted a fetus they were carrying. Now, I think if we're going to be responsible, we have to ask ourselves what kind of message this sends to young women. I mean, here are a couple of our icons, right? Talking about this stuff so casually. It's okay to use abortion as a form of birth control so that it doesn't interfere with your career. And I think this is just plain wrong. And I think it has far-reaching ramifications for females who look up to and admire these people. I have stopped respecting these people. And if I don't respect you, I can't admire you. And if I can't admire you, I don't want to be exposed to you. I don't want to watch your TV programs. I don't want to watch your films. Just the way it is for me, I can't love you if I don't respect you. Contraception was made available to females many years ago. I don't know, what is it, 6, 7 decades ago now? I knew as a young woman I never wanted to have a child. I was resolute about that. There was no question in my mind. I had no ambivalence whatsoever about bringing a child into the world. Not because I had any moral objections to it, but because I knew I was too selfish, too self-involved, too self-centered. I think a part of me knew it was going to be a full-time job just taking care of me on this planet as I aged and matured. I didn't want a child. I was really certain of it. So I took precautions. I made certain there was no chance I'd ever get pregnant because I was responsible and I was mature, even in my early 20s. I knew that there were various repercussions for going through an abortion, and I didn't want to put myself through that. I knew that that wouldn't be an easy emotional decision for me. And I never wanted to put myself through that. So I was very cautious. I used precautions. I used contraceptives for a while. I used the pill to prevent pregnancy. A little later on in life, I started using IUDs to prevent pregnancy. But you can make damn sure that I never wanted to get pregnant for various reasons, and so I never did. And so in 70 years of my life, I've never been pregnant. Now, what sets me apart from these little girls who've had abortions? And I call them little girls because these are not responsible, grown adults. They're silly, they're trivial, they're stupid, they're inconsiderate, they're irresponsible. They're emotionally not centered. It's easier for them to be careless and just say, oh, well, if I don't take my pill, or I don't use an IUD, or I don't get a patch inserted under my skin to make sure, at least 98% sure, I'm not going to conceive a baby, I just get an abortion. I just have that fetus vacuumed out of me. Wouldn't we have to assume that a female is at least somewhat dissociated from her emotions? That she's underdeveloped, undercooked emotionally to treat abortion so lightly? Wouldn't we have to assume this? We understand that people in the acting profession, and trust me, I have friends who are actors and have for many years. I've been very close to these people. But we kind of know that people who are in that industry aren't terribly stable, don't we? I mean, we've all heard of overdoses among actors and actresses. We've all seen them spend time in recovery facilities. We've seen them be kleptomaniacs and steal from stores. We know these are not really emotionally stable people. And what is an emotionally unstable person? Well, they're typically underdeveloped emotionally, which bumps up against personality disorder traits and features. Because borderline personality disorder and narcissism, we see these aspects among underdeveloped people. There's something in their childhood or a litany of somethings that derailed their emotional development. Their emotional development is stunted. So we have these little girls out there treating pregnancy very casually and bragging about it and saying to young females of America and all around the world, that's okay. If you want to have a successful career, it's okay. If you get pregnant, just have an abortion. Never do they once mention contraception. Now, the word contra means against or contradictory to, as close as I can figure it. We've all read on over-the-counter drugs, OTC drugs. They all list contraindications, don't they? Things that might happen to a few people if they take this over-the-counter drug, because they have to list these. They're required by the American Medical Association to list all contraindications, even if adverse effects only happen to one person out of thousands. They have to list these contraindications. Well, contraception and contraceptives mean they run counter to inception, meaning you little darlings out there that seem to not have a brain in your head and to be incredibly irresponsible and emotionally underdeveloped so as not to prevent pregnancy, it means this is a means to prevent pregnancy. And inception, contraception, is a means to prevent inception. Now, contraceptives, as I said earlier, were invented and developed many years ago. They've been around for decades and decades now. And why were they invented? They were invented to empower women. They were invented to give women the right to have a robust and vibrant and enjoyable sex life without the worry of and concerns about getting pregnant and being saddled with a child they didn't want. These things were invented to empower women, to give them the right to have a sex life, just like men, without conceiving a child. Why aren't these females using contraception? Why are they taking such a casual attitude about abortion? Alyssa Milano, Michelle Williams, what's wrong with you? What's missing in you? What's lacking in you to adopt this kind of attitude? I'm all for women's rights. I am. I'm all for women's right to choose what happens to our bodies. I've always believed in this. I'm very liberal in this regard. But I can't condone the casual attitude that a lot of females, underdeveloped ones, obviously, are taking toward abortion. It's not right. It never will be right. It never has been right. And with the exception of forcible rape, I honestly don't think abortions should be made available. How about being more responsible, ladies? How about being more responsible? How about using some prevention? You know the saying, an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure? Wouldn't you rather avoid all the emotional and physical ramifications of aborting a fetus by just using some protection, some prevention, some contraceptive birth control? Think about it. Don't take abortion lightly. It's a killing of a being. And again, I believe in abortion. I'm for it. But I'd like to see a whole lot more females preventing pregnancy than ridding themselves of it because they've been lazy or careless or irresponsible or stupid. And that's all I have to say on this topic today. Grow the fuck up, ladies. And if you aren't responsible, if you don't think you can be responsible in your real life, try to act as if you are. We know you're good at acting, don't we? Try and act as if you're responsible and prevent pregnancy. Bye for now.